Let's talk about business success. We all want that, right? Why would we go into business or why would we go into independent sales if we weren't interested in becoming successful? So, today on Small Business Daily, we're going to talk about the 6 most important reasons why businesses become successful. I'm Randy Kirk. And if you like this idea, if you think that this kind of content makes sense for you, push the like button. And then maybe you'd like to subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified of future broadcasts, tomorrow we're actually going to be talking about the top reasons why businesses fail. So maybe you'll want to push the notify button so that you'll be made aware of that meeting tomorrow. Anyway, let's talk about these top 6 reasons. We won't waste any more time. Number 1, there's no doubt about it in my mind, is desire. Okay. In fact, there's an Elon Musk video from about 2 weeks ago that you might want to look up that talks about passion. Passion is key to success in small business. If you don't care, if you're not excited, if you're not loving your product and loving your company and loving what it is that you're about to do, then it's hard to imagine why your client or prospects would be any more interested in it than you are. You're going to be the leader here. So how the desire part of it is really critical. Some days you're going to wake up and you're not going to want to get out of bed because you're going to be facing issues that day that are going to be not that pleasant. And when you're facing those issues, it may be hard to get out of bed. Or you may not be getting the results that you're hoping for. Maybe you thought that your sales would get much higher, much faster than they did, or possibly you're going through a slump right now in sales, or the economy's in a slump. Possibly you've got employee issues. There's all kinds of things that can get in the way of making your business the most exciting thing in the world on any given day or week or month or even year. The only thing that's going to keep you going is going to be desire, is going to be passion. Sometimes there's walls in front of you, and when you're approaching that wall, you might want to go under it, you might want to go over it, you might want to go around it. All 4 of those have their own issues, but sometimes the only way that you're going to overcome that wall, the only way you're going to get past that wall is to go through it. And when you go through it, there's going to be pain, and there's going to be a hard decision made when you decide that you're going to plow through a wall. The only way you're going to be able to make that decision is to be passionate, filled with desire for success. So that's number 1. If you don't agree with me, put it in the comments. Let me know that you don't agree. But if you do agree, you can comment about that as well. So after desire, what's number 2? Number 2 is sales. Now, those of you who watch my videos on a regular basis know that I have a huge bias in this area. I've been a salesman since I was 5 years old and started selling greeting cards door to door. I love selling. I love the selling proposition. It's a very exciting thing. And if you'd like to learn more about how I motivate people to sell and how I teach selling, you can go back to the very first 6 of these Small Business Daily episodes. And I do 6 days on the principles of selling and how to become an amazing professional salesperson. But sales, if at all possible, if you can help me get this done on the epitaph that I have at my funeral, I wanted to say, nothing happens until something is sold. My claim is that you can have the greatest storefront if you're a retailer, and amazing layout, a beautiful environment. You can have the best products. You can offer the most amazing services. You can do that at a low cost. But if nobody's selling, if nobody knows how to sell, then you can be one of the biggest flops ever. And that's going to be true not just day 1, not just when you're opening up, but as you grow and you get to certain levels. Maybe you get to a level that you're very happy with. Maybe you're doing a couple $100,000 a year in business, depending on the kind of business you're in. That might be a pretty good deal. And you get satisfied, and then you stop selling. You start spending more of your time on deliverables and customer care, and those are all amazing and important things. But if you stop selling, almost every business has churn, So some people are going to slip off. Some people are going to fall away. Some people are going to go out of business. You're going to lose some of your client base. You have to keep selling. Moreover, maybe that $200,000 a year is great now, but later you may want to earn more than that. And in business, usually there's almost unlimited capacity to earn. And so whatever that level is that you're shooting for, it's going to take sales. You're going to have to sell something. Well, I think that's enough on selling, but that's number two. The number two reason that companies succeed is because they are sales oriented. They have desire and they go out and sell. Number three is marketing. Again, I might have a bias here and other people might have a different list, but if your product is great, but it's the wrong color, or it's in the wrong package, or it's just missing this one ingredient because the marketing hasn't been done to determine that the customer needs this other ingredient, or that the packaging is not appropriate for the time, doesn't fit on the shelf right, or that the price is too high, the price is too low, because the price can be too low. You can have a perceived value due to the price being at a low point that says, oh, it must be garbage because the price is too low. The opposite is true. I've seen products that you raise the price and they sell better. Marketing also is determining the distribution channels. Who are you selling to? Who's your customer? When I started my consulting firm 13 years ago, I started only going after one vertical. And that worked great and probably could have worked great, but I was impatient. So I started trying additional verticals as well. So are you only going to sell to one group or one kind of business? Are you going to sell to multiple kinds of business? Have you been selling to several kinds of businesses, but you're not hitting your numbers? Well, it may be that you want to try another distribution channel. Are you selling direct to consumers? Are you selling to dealers? Are you selling to wholesalers? It may be that you want to change the distribution approach that you have and go start selling on Amazon if you're only selling to distributors at this point, or maybe not. But those are all marketing decisions that you're going to want to make. So how do you advertise? Are you using social media? Are you using billboards? Are you using bus bench ads? Are you on television? Are you on radio? Are you doing trade shows? Are you doing farmers markets? How are you, using email blasts? There's a massive number of ways to advertise your product, and that's part of the marketing that you're going to do. Many companies never take into consideration the marketing of their business. They think that marketing only means advertising, and maybe that means putting it in the paper or doing some mailings or getting some Facebook activity. No, marketing is everything. It's everything from the products you sell and the products you don't sell, the price that you charge, higher or lower in between, or all three, the product look, the service approach, the customer service. All those things are marketing. If you're not managing all of those things, then you won't have as great a chance of success. Now, again, these are the top reasons that businesses succeed. Number four, you're probably going to be a little bit surprised, but number four is luck. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I opened a bicycle retail store back in 1971 during the bicycle boom. I mean, you open a bicycle retail store in 1971, how could you fail? Well, I failed, but you know why I failed? Because I opened my bike shop on the same weekend as the only bike coastal dock strike in history. All of the docks in the East Coast, in Texas, on the West Coast, all the docks were closed. Well, as a brand new bike shop, I couldn't get domestic bikes. I was only going to be able to get imported bikes. And of course, all of the other established bike shops were immediately purchasing all of the bikes out of the warehouses that I would have been buying them from. So I opened on the weekend of July 4th. I got my first new bicycles. I got 5 new bicycles just before Christmas. So no, it was a little hard to have a bike shop that had no bikes. Anyway, that's luck. Sometimes luck will be with you. I can tell you examples in my lifetime when luck has totally been with me, and other times when it has gone against me, and I'm sure you're the same way. So luck is an issue. And of course, if you have enough desire, sometimes you're going to plow right through that bad luck. In my case, with that bike shop, I decided no. I didn't like retail that much anyway. And I went to work for one of my suppliers as a salesman and made way more money than I was making with that retail store. So how is the desire going to come in to help you plow through those bad luck days and those good luck days? But it is an issue, so we shouldn't ignore it. So what's number 5? Number 5 is accounting. If you don't count it, you can't manage it. That's an old saying, and I believe it. And I believe it so much that I just recently wrote a book about it with Shayla Chamberlain, a CPA and CMA. And that book is called Making Money Out of Thin Air. And in that book, what we talk about is how to set up your accounting. Now, once you've set up your accounting, how to make sure that your books properly take into consideration that great accounting that you've established. So you can have books that are incorrect. Your profit and loss can be set up in a way that it doesn't really give you the information the way you need it for your industry. So manufacturers, cost of goods analysis is important. What goes into cost of goods and what goes into overhead. That same thing is actually true in services. You should have a cost of goods and services also if you really want to analyze it properly. So how you set up your accounting, how you set up the profit and loss, how you set up your balance sheets, how you set up your reporting, and reporting of your sales, reporting of your accounts receivable, the reporting of your inventories, your planning of your inventory control, how soon you need to get more product in, et cetera, et cetera. All of that is part of accounting. And if your accounting isn't very good, it's going to really hurt your chances of being successful. And it's not that hard to set it up right. Then the final stage is not only have you set it up right, but now how do you read it? Do you understand what you're seeing in your profit and loss? Do you understand what you're seeing in your balance sheet? Do you understand what you're seeing in your sales analysis? If you don't understand those things, it's going to be kind of like a rudderless ship or somebody with heart disease that doesn't even have a doctor taking the vitals. You really, really need to understand all of those financial pieces in order to have the best chance of success. Can you be successful without understanding your financials? Absolutely can. I've seen literally hundreds of companies over my time in business, and over the last 13 years that I've been doing consulting and mastermind, I have seen hundreds of companies where the owner doesn't have a clue about their accounting, and their accounting is a horrible mess, and yet they're still successful. But a lot of those people are making $75,000 a year, $60,000 a year, and that, for some people, is successful. But I believe that some of those same folks, applying some of the principles I'm talking about and that I wrote about in the book, that they would be making $100,000 a year. Maybe they've been making $150,000 a year instead of settling for 75 or even less in terms of their personal income that they're taking home to take care of their family. Okay, what's the last one? The last one is planning. Oh yeah, planning makes such a difference, and it makes a difference when you're starting a business. So for those of you who are thinking of going into business and you're planning a startup, or those of you who already own a business and you're planning to start a new division or a new product line, or maybe some of those of you who are in business and you're thinking about opening yet another business. Many entrepreneurs own more than one business. Planning can become a real heartbreaker if it's not done right, because you really want to take the time to understand the markets that you're getting into, to understand what are the products that or services you're going to need to provide in order to be successful, in order to plan the cash flow. Now that's just the startup, okay? Now what about once you're in business? I've seen companies go out of business because they grew too fast. Yeah, that's right. You can grow too fast. If you require inventory and accounts receivable, which are assets that you have to basically pay for, you have to pay for the inventory, you have to pay for the accounts receivable. When you're doing that, if you grow very rapidly, you can get to a place where you can't afford to buy the inventory you need to get the next order. and you can't afford to give away any more accounts receivable because all your money's tied up in AR and you can't pay your payables, can't pay your bills, can't pay your salaries. So planning is really, really critical. Taking into consideration number 5 about accounting, you can go one step further in your accounting and set up a cash flow analysis, which will give you various scenarios and show you what kind of cash you're going to need at different levels of growth. Planning matters across the board. Your planning, your goal setting, all of that is going to change. You're going to set the plan and then it's not going to work out quite like you expected, but that's fine. That's part of business. But if you have no plan, if you have no goals, it's impossible to hit the goal you don't set. One of the most important parts of planning, in my opinion, is to set up month by month plans for every aspect of your business. How much inventory will I need? How much of this will I need to buy? How many employees will I have? What will my payroll be? What are the sales that I expect based on last year, same time? So you're taking your historic information and you're plotting it on a spreadsheet and showing what are my expectations going forward. You're basically budgeting your payables, budgeting your inventories, budgeting your sales. All these things get budgeted. And yeah, will you be off? Sure. But as you, it's a learning circle. As you're a little bit off, you can adjust the future and you'll get better and better at making these projections. So there you have it. Those are the top 6 reasons why businesses succeed. We're going to talk tomorrow about, I think it's the top 10 reasons that businesses fail. And so I'd love to see you back here tomorrow to talk about that. This is Randy Kirk, Small Business Daily.